Crown versus Penelope C. Boston, and the charge is first-degree murder. Now. During the trial, either the Crown or the defense may object to questions asked by the opposing counsel or to answers provided by the witness. When an objection is made, I rule on whether the evidence in question is admissible, that is, whether it may be accepted by the court. Following are some of the most common grounds for objection in criminal trial. In court, there are 6 types of evidence. There's direct evidence, circumstantial evidence, character evidence, electronic surveillance, polygraph tests, and voir dire. Members of the jury, your duty today will be to determine whether the defendant is guilty or not guilty based on only facts and evidence provided in this case. The prosecution has the burden of providing the guilt of the defendant beyond the reasonable doubt. This burden remains on the prosecution through the trial. The prosecution must prove that a crime was committed and that the defendant is the person who committed the crime. However, if you are not satisfied of the defendant's guilt to the extent, then reasonable doubt exists and the defendant must be found guilty. Not guilty.
I swear to well and truly
try and true
deliverance make between our sovereign
Lady the Queen and the accused at the bar.
I have in charge and a true verdict to give according to the evidence.
So help me God.
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 Now.
Is the prosecution ready? Is the defense ready? Defense, you may call your first witness.
Where were you on the night of Taylor Swift's murder?
I was in the parkade of BC Place.
What did you see happen?
Penelope C. Boston murdered Taylor Swift.
Prosecution, you may call your first witness.
What did you see on the night of Taylor Swift's death?
I saw Penelope C. Boston rolling around doing somersaults, breathing heavily behind a pole. I just knew it was her, and I heard the gunshot go off as I was driving away.
Okay, how did you know it was Penelope C. Boston that you saw?
Well, you know, I just had a sticky feeling that it was her.
Members of the jury, today I've heard the testimony of Penelope C. Boston in the murder of Taylor Swift. I would like to remind you of some important information that you should consider in your decision. The facts include we have her on video surveillance doing the murder.
I can smell it.
Please find the defendant guilty of charge of first-degree murder. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the jury today, you have been testimony about how the accused was sentenced to kill Taylor Swift. I would like to remind some of the important information that you should consider in your decision. These facts include that have not been Penelope in the film. You cannot see the accused's face, and there's no fingerprint evidence. Please find our client Penelope C. Boston not guilty.
Take 17. We, the jury, in the case of the Crown versus Penelope C. Boston, find the defendant guilty of the charge of first-degree murder.
Would anybody like to appeal?
I would not like to appeal the charges.